So with the final preparations for the French Open done and the seeds are locked in now for Roland Garros starting next Sunday, let's go have a look at who actually won the Rome Masters last week, because it was a massive tournament and it did change the rankings a lot. So the only tournament last week was the Italian Open, and Paolini on the women's side took out Gauff in the finals 6-4, 6-2 to lift her second Masters 1000 title, and she also won the doubles with Aryna as well, so she won both tournaments. And on the men's side, it was Alcaraz taking out Sinner 7-6, 6-1 to lift his second Masters trophy of the season on clay, and both players gained a lot of confidence with those wins. Let's have a look at the players that went up in the rankings outside the top 10, because we did have some players that did really well and gained a lot of points. Stearns, number 28 in the world, she did so well this week, going up 14 spots and is going to be seated at the French Open, so it was a really crucial week for her. Raducanu, she also went up 6 spots to number 43 in the world. And Bublik, he didn't really play that well in Rome. He actually went and played a challenger event in the second half of Rome, won that event, and he went up 25 spots to 51 in the world. So even the players that didn't do well in Rome still got a boost in the rankings, because there were tournaments after that they could participate in. So some players there that did really well going up the rankings. Players that went down in the rankings outside the top 10, we had Ostapenko. She went down 3 spots to 21 in the world. Collins, who made the semifinals last year, went down 11 spots to number 46 in the world. And Tabilo, he didn't actually play Rome, made the final last year, lost all those points, went down 19 spots to 61 in the world. So some players there that lost a lot of points because of their form last year, dropping down the ranks. All right, let's start on the WTA side of things, because there were a lot of changes. No change at the top, though, with Sabalenka staying at 1. But Swiatek, she dropped down 3 spots after failing to defend the title in Rome. Goes down to number 5 in the world, which means she'll be the 5th seed at the French Open. Gauff went up to number 2, Pegula went up to number 3, and Paolini went up to number 4 after winning in Rome. So big moves there, and when we get the draw coming out in a few days' time, we'll see if it actually made a difference, because now Swiatek could play Sabalenka or Gauff in the quarterfinal of Roland Garros. So a huge change in the rankings this week. Andreeva, she goes up 1 spot to number 6, pushing Keys down number 7, Zhang's at number 8, Navarro at 9, and Badosa at number 10. So it's really that Swiatek change in the rankings. It just puts her in a really tough position when the draw comes out. She could avoid playing all those tough players that we mentioned, but being the number 5th seed could really hurt her when the draw comes out in a few days. Looking at the race of the finals now, and no change at the top with Sabalenka at 1 and Keys at 2. Andreeva at 3 and Swiatek at 4. But Gauff, she went up 1 spot to number 5, pushing Pegula down to number 6. Paolini rockets into the top 10, 9 spots higher than last week to number 7, pushing Svitolina down to number 8. Navarro comes in at 9. Alexandrova dropped down to number 10, and Anisimova drops out of the top 10 completely. So with one really good week, 1,000 points, Paolini is now in the race of the finals for the first time this season. All right, over on the men's side of things, we had no change at the top with Sinner at number 1. But Alcaraz, he goes up to number 2, pushing Zverev down number 3 after winning in Rome. So that means that Alcaraz will avoid Sinner until the final of Roland Garros at the very worst. And Zverev, he is going to have to play Alcaraz or Sinner in the semifinals. So that was a big move there for Zverev. Very tough move for Zverev. Fritz comes in at number 4 with Draper at number 5. Djokovic at 6. Ruud at 7. Musetti, he goes up 1 spot to number 8, pushing De Minaur down to number 9. And Rune comes in at number 10 for this week. So no major changes to most of the top 10. Just that change at the top with Alcaraz and Zverev, which was a really important change. But we'll find out, of course, in a couple of days' time, who, Draper and Djokovic are going to play in a potential quarterfinal, because, of course, Djokovic versus Sinner could be a quarterfinal at Roland Garros, which would be really, really crazy. Let's take a look at the finals now, the race of the finals for the ATP, and no change at the top with Alcaraz at number 1. But Sinner, he goes back up to number 2, pushing Draper down to number 3 and Zverev down to number 4. Ruud comes in at number 5. And Musetti, he goes up to number 6, 6 spots higher than last week after making the semifinals here. Pushing De Minaur down to number 7, Menzies stays at 8, Cerundolo stays at 9, and Djokovic drops 3 spots down to number 10, with Shelton falling out of the top 10 completely. So, Sinner only played 1 tournament before this and was number 1 in the world in the race of the finals for pretty much the entire season until lately. And he finally adds a couple more points there, but also Musetti had a really good clay court season so far, and he is in the race of the finals in that number 6 spot. So there it is. That is what has happened in the rankings. On the women's side, crazy things. On the men's side, not so much. I mean, just because the big names were winning a lot, doesn't really make for much change, but some crucial changes there with Zverev and Alcaraz for sure. And of course, Swiatek dropping down to number 5 for the first time in years is going to be really interesting. That's going to be really crazy when the draw comes out. Where will she fall? Will she get Pegula or Paolini in a quarterfinal? Or will she have to play Sabalenka in a quarterfinal at Roland Garros? That would be crazy if we get that. But let me know down in the comments below. What's been your favorite thing about Rome? Did you like that Paolini got the win? What a run she had. It was much better than her Dubai run as well. She had much tougher opponents. And then she also won the doubles just to add to it. So that was really fun to watch. And Alcaraz, he just doesn't lose to Sinner. He's won 4 in a row against Sinner now, and Sinner had a great week up until that final, and then, he just played his boogeyman. But there it is. They're the rankings for this week, with Roland Garros coming up in a week's time.